yet another episode of the Dynamic CIO Talk Show. Now, India has been on quite a roller coaster ride since March 2020, as businesses and customers alike have braved the waves of the pandemic. Adapting to uncertainty became the theme of the season. In these circumstances, agility has emerged as one of the biggest priorities, not only for business success, but first and foremost for their survival. According to a data released by Zendesk in their Agility in Action research, agile businesses were better placed to reduce service cost in the past year. In fact, 68% of the business leaders in India report that having high agility reduced their cost by 25%. The report also highlights on how businesses are acknowledging customer experience as a driver of revenue. Nearly 41% of the SMB business leaders and 64% of the mid-market companies view customer experience primarily as a revenue driver. To discuss this and more, we have with us Mr. K.T. Prasad, MD and RVP, India and SAARC Zendesk. Welcome to the show, sir.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me here, Smriti.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine. So, without much ado, let me dive straight into the discussion. And I want to ask you a very important question. I just touched upon customer experience. So I want to know, how is customer experience and expectation, as I say, changing, in this dynamic world with the pandemic coming in? And what is the role of customer experience in when you talk about digital transformation, which has become a must-have now?
No, I think if I add this question about 18, 20 months ago, the answers would be slightly different. But in essence, things at the foundation hasn't changed. The foundation, actually, these customers that we all care for, and their expectations are changing faster than ever. I think COVID-19 in the last 18 months and 20 months, and it kind of brought in a lot of behavior elements of customers. And actually that accelerated the expectations of these customers. Now, when you have customer expectations changing faster, I think all businesses need to look at, hey, how do I engage this customer? How do I acquire a customer? How do I retain? How do I deliver a great CX? Because in today, especially in the Indian market, and I can see it very clearly, the customer experience is the core differentiator. It is not the product or the service, because then after some point, Smriti, it is hard to differentiate a product that you get from a company A to company B. It could be the same, or maybe the same product, maybe with a little bit of difference of pricing, or maybe same price. So I think customers are looking at, more importantly, am I getting a great experience, being with this brand? Am I relevant to this company, and the company treats me with uniquely, will they give me a personalized approach? I think that evolution has accelerated in the last 18 months. And it's also very commonly heard. And I think in the current context, being in dynamic CIO, conversation, I think if you ask who brought in digital transformation to the world, right? I think CIO was brought it. But who accelerated it? It is COVID-19. Right? It is given. I think everybody said it many, many times, and I think it's a context that I want to set today. But I want you to just reflect upon in Indian context, and as you and me as a consumer, just imagine these days in whatever media that brands are representing their companies. I see some of the fast-growing, either fashion retailers or digital insurance companies out there in the market in India are advertising that they have a great customer experience. Remember, they're not advertising on rest of the products of all the insurance products that they have, like automobile, marine, and health. They're saying that we have a great CX. I think that itself demonstrates India has evolved as another business, evolved as a CX first, because the customers out there wanting a better experience.
So, adding to what you said, I totally, agree to it, and I want to echo your words. CX, a chief of CX, a CXO who handles CX has now become a very important part of the boardroom discussions as well. And that, I think, highlights the fact that how important CX is for an organization. And it is not only for the BFSI sector, I think it's across pan industries, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to know, we are talking about customer experience and we're talking about customer expectation. One, I would first want to ask you, what is Zendesk doing to help the customers thrive in the post-COVID world? And if you could also tell me a little more about Zendesk that our viewers.
Absolutely. Thank you. And probably take the second question first. I'll give you a little bit of flavor of Zendesk. We've been in the market for over 14, 15 years. We've also been publicly traded company in US. almost for 5, 6, I think it's 6 years now. I think way we look at Zendesk is perceived as, we are champions of customer service. It is because of three things that we do very, very well. We bring in CX best practices, the customer experience best practices, baked into our products. So when the customer gets onto Zendesk, they have out of the box all the CX practices across the globe ingrained into the product itself. Number two, customer service is in our DNA. I think because we live and breathe only thing about customer service, we do it very, very well. And that puts us a great difference. And I think more importantly, we have this great opportunity and a privilege to work with some of the most innovative companies across the globe. Most innovative. You're talking about Uber globally, locally, Ola, or a Grofers or a ITC, in India, Siemens, Logitech, and I can go on. There are over 170,000 companies globally who enlighten their customers and powered by Zendesk. I think that's great. That really sets us apart. But more importantly, market validation is super important, Smriti. And for us, we're thankful to Gartner and all our customers. 6 years in a row, Zendesk has been named as #1 digital customer service software. Because I think that really
talks
about.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And the way we look at CX, and especially in the last 18 months or so, we said, the customers are trying to, grapple with their business and they're trying to deal with the changing expectations of customer. We should not make that customer's life difficult to choose and buy a simple software like customer support software. So what we've said, we will package the customer support software based on the maturity of, your evolution of the CX, as a brand. So if you're a starter, we think, from working with all 170,000 customers and more, we can actually help package all of the solutions together. So we kind of called back in February this year, we launched something called simplified packaging and pricing of our products. We said, you should not get worried about, I'm going to buy this product. Maybe I need this add-on. Maybe I will get charged something else which is not written. So we kind of brought transparency to the core of buying the software. That means we packaged all our software, simplified it so that you actually focus on getting the software and actually driving the customer experience, number one. Number two, we have removed all of these different add-ons, and every company, every products have primary product, and you have small little add-ons which will get to do the business. We said, no, we do understand customers, we do understand their level of maturity, and we got to package our products based on the customer maturity so that they can, as they grow with our product portfolio. I think that changed how customers really buy software. Number two, we also brought in a flavor of, trying before buying. It's in enterprise software, Smriti, you've been covering a lot of enterprise companies, and I've been in the market for over 25 years now. Enterprise software buying process itself is so difficult. And we said, we got to democratize that. And we want to make sure that software should be purchased the way you and me buy anything online. Like a fashion products or something on our favorite e-tailer. Similarly, you should buy it on Zendesk. And if you try it and you don't like it, no problem. You can get off. So I think we brought in that flavor, and hence we really revolutionize how CX software has been taken into the market. But you asked the first question, about what Zendesk has been doing it in the last 18 months or so. I think one, we looked at in packaging option, which I've talked about. Second, we're looking at how customer expectations are changing. And I'll actually talk about, particularly for India market, we are a WhatsApp first country. So that means, imagine if WhatsApp has one black mark, that is actually, we brought, I think a couple of years ago on the new year, we brought WhatsApp down. That's the element of usage that we have. Look at 1.3, 1.4 billion population. We have close to 550, 600 million smartphone devices. And that is growing at a very rapid pace. That means we have a digital literacy and availability of internet in the hands of citizens is growing faster than ever. And it's actually growing faster than anywhere else in the world. And that's happening in India. In last 18 months, in fact, you would see that these citizens who have digital literacy coming up, they have this internet enabled on their phones. And most of the lockdowns, they've been actually spending a lot of time on, of course, their favorite OTT platforms. But also, we're seeing a shopping behaviors actually starting as digital first, virtual everyday world. And we see that and very clearly call out. That means today's customer, even today we're talking about, the customer journeys will start from digital, irrespective of whether they're actually going to buy virtually or digitally or physically, doesn't matter, but the journey will start digitally. And we've recognized that, and hence we have launched something called messaging. Zendesk messaging really brings in the best of self-service, the best of bot conversational experiences, best of all the different channels that you have to talk to customer to really drive a conversational experience through our messaging. I think, and that's been, I call it, true revolutionary to the market.
I've always been talking to a lot of CXOs about digital transformation, how it changed from a nice to have to a must to have because of the pandemic. Your point of digital literacy has struck me very hard. That's something which has also become a nice to have to a must have in all sectors of the society, and I think that's amazing. And also, when you spoke about the customer experience, your software and all, what I understood from what you said is your core is also to give your customers an amazing experience so that they are able to give that kind or maybe more or less, however, to their customers. Your focus is just not giving a good software for their customers, you're also ensuring that your customer must get the best experience. So hats off to that.
Thank you, Smriti.
When we talk about customer experience and customer expectation, a customer relationship management is very important, right? You can't just give an experience and say that, okay, I'm done, I'm over with it. That doesn't work, unfortunately, in any parts of the world. So what does the customer relationship management space look like in a post-pandemic world, and how have Indian customers been keeping up to it? So I'm talking from both sides.
So I think one change that we have seen, let's talk from both the angles, from a customer as well as business. I think it's understood, absolutely baked into everything that we do is this: customer expectations are changing, and customers are relying into channels which are non-traditional channels, I call. That means they're not relying on things like things like phone. They're relying more on WhatsApp or messaging kind of a channels, where the tonality is very different. Second, very importantly, this is the channel that, particularly in India, we wake up to. Maybe if my father were a 70 years old person, gets up in the morning, sends us a good morning on WhatsApp, remember, we don't, how many times we get to interact on WhatsApp nowadays or any other social messaging channels? It could be Instagram, where my daughters are absolutely, an active on. So I think social messaging channels have really taken a big leap of faith in the last 18 months within India. Just look at the number of customers grew in these channels is incredible. And that actually talks about millennials who are also embarking the journey. And at the same time, baby boomers and everybody else are also embarking this as a more reliable channel. Now, I'll give you a simplest example. If I send out a message to my friend, maybe on a text message, I'm not sure whether it gets delivered or not. There is no way that you can authenticate. But if it sends in a WhatsApp, I do see it, and it's a double tick versus single tick and all those stuff. So one is confirmation. Second, I think social messaging really drives a tonality that we talked about, but also this is a channel that we talk to our friends and family, right? Now, businesses are embarking into these channels to provide a great customer support to their customers because of tonality, because of conversational behaviorness of this, and also moving away. I think one of the key pivot back in, I think last year, March, April, when we announced the first lockdown, most of the contact centers that were running in India had difficulty to move from in-office to home, and contact centers running telephone only support. So I think all of us as citizens, we all agreed that, hey, it's difficult for those contact center teams to move back from home, because this was the message even played when you call a contact center. You remember, hey, we are struggling to find the volume and we are moving. I think it's ingrained in the minds of citizens, and everybody has started moving slowly towards a phone, a very old channel, traditional channel. I think it's a very important channel in customer communication, but slowly moving towards messaging channels, social messaging channels, I would say in particular. So it puts onus and responsibility on business now. Hey, you can't say you provide a phone support and you think that the customer will be happy and they'll happy to call you. Millennials, particularly, will never want to call you on a phone. These are probably my daughter's age and probably slightly elder. They always start on social messaging, end with social messaging. They would, if they talk to parents, it's great. Forget about talking to a business on a phone call. So, and moving into, if you traditionally look at other businesses, every other business is going big on WhatsApp, Instagram, and rest of the channel. I think what rings me bell, a story that recently we published with one of the company that we work called Pay Nearby. Pay Nearby is a very interesting business. All of us see businesses focusing on tier 1, tier 2 countries, because that's where most of digital literacy and everything else. Pay Nearby felt, oh, they have more place to operate in maybe a tier 3, 4, and 5. Especially, I think back in the days when the first it's more than lockdown, demonetization happened. Lot of people found difficulty in exchanging currency. But coming to lockdown number 1, which is in last year that happened, lots of laborers were stuck at different places. These are the people who work full day, and they earn the money. They go to the nearest, probably provision stores, buy grocery and whatnot, for the daily needs. But apparently, they also send money on a daily basis to their family, or maybe monthly, weekly basis to their family. During the lockdown, with banks being shut and everything else shut, only essential service being on, I think Pay Nearby really revolutionized how they think about this. If they actually go to essential services stop and actually buy the grocery, they could also use the same store to send money to their family and friends elsewhere. So it's very beautiful. And you look at the number of pin codes that they serve is phenomenal. And all of this has driven with messaging first, said Shama. Remember, Pay Nearby enabling retailers to also earn a little bit of money and have diversified their business apart from selling the day-to-day groceries and other thing else. But now they operate a small little, bank within a bank, if you want to call it as, right? So these guys are outside. They're helping, people who do not probably have a digital literacy of sending using digital wallets and stuff like that. And maybe they don't have a time to do it also. Everything can be done in the store, and Pay Nearby really revolutionized how they provide. And we're also very delighted that Pay Nearby uses Zendesk and how they think about and reimagine their customer experience using social messaging, which is WhatsApp first, actually, for providing the service to all their retailers in, I think, 18,000 plus pin codes across India.
Messaging first is truly right. When you actually send an SMS to somebody, I think the SMS now is only used for an OTP generation and not anything else. The social media messaging has really come up. So anyways,
Absolutely.
in the paucity of time, I will ask you one last question.
Please.
I spoke about agility in the in my start. So Indian CXOs are seeing a very bumpy road ahead in their journey of agility. Can investment in agility be termed as a strategic business investment?
Sorry, Smriti, you said can you repeat your question again, please?
Yeah, so I said, now Indian CXOs, I spoke about agility, right? In your journey to agility, all the CXOs are seeing a very bumpy road ahead, right? And investment in agility is very essential. So can investment in agility be termed as a strategic business investment or no?
100% yes. I think, let me just go a step back and for a context of conversation today, let me just reset what is agility means. Agility means, responding to a situation or being agile, and also, you're quick to respond and things like that. These are common things that comes into your mind, right? And these are very good flavors. If you want to really drive a great business today, you got to be inheriting and inculcating all of these behaviors into your business, because this customer expectations changing faster, competition is growing faster than ever, and it's good. And with digital literacy and everything else, the bar of entry is become very easy. And let me say that very clearly. And if you look at financial companies that are fintech companies that are there in India, and in particularly in the last year, the number of fintechs, number of edtech companies evolve, and turning unicorns. And look at last year and a half, 2 years. Look at number of fintech evolutions that have come into India. I think the entry bar is being removed. Earlier, we used to think financial services means we used to think about a bank. Now slowly insurance companies came, digital wallet companies came, and today you talk about, you buy today, pay later companies too. There are so much of valuation going on into fintech space. It is hard to think about, okay, I think I've set up this business and this business will run forever. So thinking agile, being agile means everything today. So you got to spend money on, people, process, technology, doesn't matter, across all the three streams to be agile. So let me give you a quick example. Now, especially in the pandemic, if you're not agile company, if you defined all of business process only on one channel, for instance, and it is so much into ingrained, you have to go to office and it's a lockdown, and all this business got impacted. Now the smart businesses have figured out, okay, now COVID wave one, we've been impacted. They all got super smart, and they said, how do we avert wave two? That means they all invested into technology, people, and processes in such a way that they could move pieces very easily. That means people can still work from home, can still contribute to being an agent in the contact center space. Now, if I say that contact center agents can work from home 18 months or before COVID, I think Smriti, you and me will say that, oh, that would never happen. You could think about these companies actually asking phones to be deposited at the beginning as you enter the office, and you go in, do your work, come out, pick up a phone and come out. But today, at a comfort of home or maybe at office, doesn't matter. So I think that level of agility has been brought into business processes. Number two, I think the CXOs are being more agile now. They're thinking about their business continuity plans have been tested, especially for CIOs. So want to create a business continuity plan, such a way that it actually can turn into good, because all the BCPs have been tested. Third element, very importantly for the India context, you will not be able to make a long-term plan of 3 to 5 years and say that, this is the plan that I draw and everything will work. I think what happened in the COVID-19 and what brought in it accelerated transformation, number one, but it also crunched the timelines of acceleration. That means people cannot wait for months and quarters and years to wait for something to do. So I think today's CIOs are making a smaller investment and trying to see if they can get a benefit very quickly. If you want to go back and look at another philosophy that we used to think about, hey, does CEO think about buying versus building? I think one thing very clearly taught today, it's not about driving the long 18, 24 months project. It's about driving 18 days, 25 days project, get something out, put it in front of the customers, let them use it, and you get the benefit. I think that's the mindset. And that mindset is basically means you got to be agile, you got to be on the toes all the time, because customer expectations are changing faster, market situations and evolving faster and very dynamically. We can't predict how would 3-4 months from now, right? That's true for all of us at the beginning that we spoke. We don't know whether the COVID third wave would come, but we want to be on the toes, thinking about that possible thing that would come. And if COVID wave 3 comes, how are we going to respond? And I think we have answers. I think most of the CIOs already have answers for this. And because they've all driven and brought agility as a forefront of everything that they do.
So much, Mr. Prasad. I wish this conversation didn't go on and on, but thank you so much for this. We spoke, we always used to talk about VUCA as a term before COVID, and I think it absolutely is apt for the COVID. How ambiguous your world is and how you have to make plans for the future. So yes, this is a very volatile VUCA world, I would put it as in a better frame. So thank you so much for this conversation and highlighting the important aspects of customer experience and how Zendesk is helping companies achieve that. So thank you so much for this, and on behalf of Dynamics here, I would like to thank you.
Smriti, it's a real pleasure. Thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully you and your family continue to stay safe. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.